Imagine how your life would be if you could maintain real energy, motivation, and focus throughout the entire day. One of the biggest challenges people face today, and maybe you're going through this too, is the constant feeling of fatigue. It seems like no matter how much rest you get, even weekends or holidays aren't enough to fix this problem. You simply can't feel energized and motivated most of the time to tackle your day and its challenges with drive. This constant tiredness might be something you'd expect from someone much older, but the reality is that it's affecting people of all ages, from 20 to 40 and even younger. Interestingly, there are 80-year-olds who seem to have more energy than some 30-year-olds you probably know. Nowadays, it's common to see people of all ages dragging through life, barely living, almost as if they're just surviving. If this resonates with you or you know someone going through this, you're likely asking two questions. Why is this happening? And what can I do to change it? To answer these, we need to understand how the brain works. Today, science gives us clear insights into this, and you might be surprised to learn that the answers aren't complicated. However, just because it's simple to understand doesn't mean it's easy to change. The causes of this constant fatigue lie in your daily choices, your surroundings, and your habits. Things you do or don't do every day, like using your phone or drinking coffee, can directly affect your energy and focus. But that doesn't mean coffee or your phone are always bad for you. It all depends on how you use them. Based on your choices, you might be draining your brain, leaving it tired, unfocused, and unmotivated. In today's video, I'm going to help you understand how your brain works and why you're constantly tired. More importantly, I'll show you what you can start doing to stop feeling this way and begin to feel energized and motivated again. If you follow the advice all the way through, instead of waking up tired and wanting to go back to bed, you'll feel a new energy and zest for life that will help you face challenges with courage and efficiency. You don't need to accept a life of low energy and lack of motivation, because you deserve to live with vitality and focus. Years ago, I had the chance to have dinner with my dear friend, neurologist and neuroscientist Dr. Marcelo from the Escola de Medicina Unifesp. He shared valuable insights with me that could transform how you deal with your daily fatigue. During a casual conversation, my friend Fabiano, who is a doctor, mentioned that he had treated a 17-year-old boy that day. The reason? The young man had a stroke, cerebrovascular accident. I was surprised because strokes are typically something we associate with older people, usually over 60, when the risk significantly increases, according to scientific studies. Curious, I asked, how could such a young person have a stroke, Fabiano? He explained, it's becoming more and more common, Pedro. We see several cases like this in the hospital, and the cause is almost always the same: too much caffeine. Now, you might be wondering, did he have a stroke because he drank coffee? The answer is that it wasn't exactly due to coffee. The issue lies in the pre-workout supplements and fat burners, known as thermogenics, that many young people take. These products contain massive amounts of caffeine, and such high doses can indeed lead to serious issues like strokes and cerebrovascular accidents. Unfortunately, most people have no idea how caffeine truly works in the brain. That's why I want to start today's video by discussing it. The reason I'm talking about this is that many people commented on our previous video about curing procrastination, asking for more detailed information about coffee and its effects. So, here we are. I want to explain what caffeine is, how it affects the brain, how it can be harmful, and most importantly, how you can use it in a way that enhances your life instead of harming your health. This should be taught in schools, but since it's not, many people end up developing a dysfunctional relationship with caffeine. This misuse is one of the main reasons why you constantly feel tired and lack energy. First of all, it's important to clarify that caffeine is a drug. Yes, it's legal, but it's still a psychoactive substance that alters how the nervous system works, with the brain being the central component of that system. When you drink coffee, you're ingesting a substance that directly affects your brain. In fact, caffeine is the most consumed psychoactive drug in the world. And I'm not saying this out of prejudice or judgment. After all, I drink caffeine too. But it's crucial to understand that when consumed improperly, it can significantly harm your brain. Many people think caffeine only comes from coffee, but it's found in many other products, such as teas, black tea, mate tea, green tea, energy drinks like Red Bull and Monster, and pre-workout and thermogenic supplements. You can even find caffeine in some sodas. Although the dosages vary, everything I'll talk about applies in the same way, no matter the source. However, the dosage and the timing of consumption are key factors, and we'll dive into that later on. To understand how caffeine is directly related to its potential negative effects, we first need to explain how it works in the body, specifically in the brain, where it primarily acts. There's a molecule in the brain called adenosine, and the longer you stay awake, the more adenosine builds up in your body and brain. For instance, after a good night's sleep of 8 or 9 hours, you wake up feeling refreshed because your adenosine levels are low. On the other hand, if you've been awake for 10, 15, or more hours, you'll have a significant accumulation of adenosine, which increases your desire to sleep. Adenosine governs your sleep hunger. The longer you stay awake, the more you feel the urge to sleep due to the buildup of this molecule. For adenosine to trigger this sleepiness, it needs to bind to specific receptors in your brain, much like a key fitting into a lock. When adenosine attaches to these receptors, it initiates the process that makes you feel progressively more tired. So, how does caffeine come into play? Caffeine acts as an adenosine antagonist. This means that caffeine binds to the same receptors as adenosine, preventing adenosine from attaching. It's like trying to insert a key into a lock that already has another key inside. It simply doesn't work. When caffeine occupies the receptor, adenosine can't bind, thus blocking the process that leads to sleepiness. This is why caffeine makes you feel more alert. However, when the effects of caffeine wear off, it detaches from the receptors, allowing adenosine to bind again. What's interesting is that after being blocked by caffeine, adenosine's affinity for the receptors increases. So, when caffeine leaves your system, adenosine floods back with even greater force, causing a heavy wave of fatigue, often referred to as a crash. This is why, after consuming too much caffeine, you might experience a sharp drop in energy and feel very sleepy. Another key effect of caffeine is how it influences the brain's dopaminergic system. Caffeine increases dopamine levels, a neuromodulator that plays a role in regulating various brain functions. Although this increase is moderate, it contributes to feelings of alertness and well-being. Dopamine has been a popular topic of discussion lately because of its crucial role in motivation and pleasure. The desire to take action and pursue your goals comes directly from the activation of your dopamine system. This system provides the energy and motivation needed to feel excited and go after your ambitions. When we talk about dopamine, many people immediately think of pleasure. However, dopamine is more involved in the motivation and drive to pursue what you want. Imagine if I blocked the dopamine receptors in your brain and gave you a piece of chocolate. You would still find the chocolate tasty and satisfying, part of what we call pleasure. But you wouldn't feel the urge to get up, get dressed, and go to the store to buy it. This means that if your dopamine receptors are blocked, you lose the motivation to seek even pleasurable things, let alone your life goals and ambitions. When you feel excited and motivated to take action, it's because your dopamine system is active at a good level. In fact, knowing that you're watching this video and learning about the brain makes me feel quite motivated. If you enjoy studying the brain, emotions, habits, and human behavior, I invite you to subscribe to our channel. This small gesture helps us share this knowledge with more people, and it gives my dopamine system a boost knowing you like the video. Going back to dopamine, when you're low on energy, lacking enthusiasm, and unable to tackle even the most important tasks, it's because your dopamine system is underactive. Beyond just providing motivation, dopamine has many functions in the body, but one of its main roles is to activate the brain system that gives you the energy to take action. Your brain releases dopamine in two different ways: tonic release and phasic release. Tonic release refers to the baseline level of dopamine that's always present in the brain. Phasic release, on the other hand, involves dopamine spikes that go beyond that baseline level and are associated with feelings of euphoria and excitement. The problem arises when you experience an intense dopamine spike. Your brain quickly regulates, and your baseline dopamine level drops below average, leading to a crash in energy. This is what happens when you consume too much caffeine, such as coffee or energy drinks. After the initial rush, you feel a deep drop in energy and motivation. The situation worsens because, on top of the dopamine crash, adenosine kicks back in, amplifying the fatigue and lack of motivation. Every time you consume caffeine, the second energy boost is smaller than the first. This happens because dopamine isn't just about the intensity of the spike, but the difference between spikes. In other words, the effect of the second cup of coffee is never as strong as the first. If you want to better manage your dopamine and have more energy throughout the day, it's crucial to pay attention to your habits and understand how certain choices, like excessive caffeine consumption, can negatively impact your dopamine system. By becoming a member today, you'll gain immediate access to various self-knowledge workbooks that have already been published. Plus, you'll receive a new workbook every week. You will also have access to exclusive live sessions with me, as well as recordings of previous live sessions. In addition to that, you'll have classes not only with me, but also with other great teachers from diverse fields, all within a community of over 15,000 members, all aligned around the same idea: the belief that self-knowledge is freedom. The Neurovox Society is not just a course. It's the most comprehensive personal and professional development program in Latin America. It's a continuous program that you can access anytime, anywhere, depending on your needs. It's like a toolbox filled with scientifically validated tools to help you understand your brain and transform your life. If you want to become a member, click the link I'll leave below, either in the first comment or the video description. If you're already a member, leave a comment with the hashtag #Somnosin. It brings me great joy as a teacher to see you engaging here on YouTube. Now, let's talk about the effects of caffeine on the body. The first immediate effect is blocking adenosine receptors, preventing sleepiness, and it also has a mild dopaminergic effect. Caffeine is a stimulant, and like any stimulant, it is dose-dependent. This means that as you increase your intake to boost the effect, your brain adapts, and eventually, even with higher doses, you stop feeling the initial impact. Some people can enjoy the same effect their whole life with just 1 cup of coffee a day without developing tolerance. However, others experience adaptation, requiring higher doses over time. Trying to increase the dose doesn't work in the long run because the brain self-regulates. This can lead to a serious issue. You start feeling bad without coffee. At this point, coffee doesn't enhance your performance. It just makes you feel normal. The only solution is to gradually reduce caffeine intake, allowing your brain to reset. To avoid building tolerance, I recommend going 1 to 4 days a month without caffeine. If you experience headaches when you stop, it's a clear sign of dependence, and although it might be uncomfortable at first, your body will eventually adjust. Over time, you'll be able to consume smaller doses and feel the positive effects again. If you suffer from depression, anxiety, ADHD, or any other neuropsychiatric disorder, poor or insufficient sleep will worsen your condition. Additionally, it increases the risk of cardiovascular diseases like heart attack and stroke, as well as metabolic problems such as insulin resistance and diabetes. Lack of sleep also weakens the immune system, making you more prone to illnesses like colds and other infections, and raises the risk of developing various types of cancer. Poor or insufficient sleep leads to emotional instability, irritability, lack of energy, and focus problems. Sleep deprivation is one of the worst things you can do for your health, and consuming caffeine incorrectly can severely impact your sleep. For example, just 1 cup of coffee in the late afternoon or evening can reduce your deep sleep time by 20%, which is equivalent to aging your brain by 15 years. Even if you think you sleep well after having coffee at night, a sleep study, polysomnography, would show that caffeine is indeed affecting your sleep quality. To protect your health, avoid consuming caffeine after 2 or 3 p.m. For many, the best time to stop is even earlier. Everyone should experiment to find the right time to stop caffeine without compromising sleep. It's also advisable to wait 1.5 to 2 hours after waking up to have coffee, as drinking it immediately can interfere with your body's natural waking processes. Furthermore, some people should avoid caffeine altogether, such as those with hypertension, anxiety, or severe insomnia. If this applies to you or your doctor has advised against caffeine, it's best to eliminate it entirely. Poor sleep is one of the main reasons for lack of energy and focus. If you want to improve your life, you need to improve your sleep. At Neurovox Society, we provide practical tools to help you sleep better, organize your morning routine, and even use deep relaxation techniques to reduce anxiety. At Neurovox Society, one of the key topics I cover is strategies for nutrition and supplementation to enhance brain function. I'm currently working on a new workbook that will cover the best supplements for improving sleep and increasing energy and focus without harming your health. If this interests you, I invite you to become a member of the Neurovox Society and dive into learning about your brain to change your life. Speaking of this, let's talk about what you do at the start of your day. One of the most important things is what you eat, and certain foods could be making you feel tired and sluggish. In general, the more refined carbohydrates you eat, such as bread, pasta, cakes, or tapioca, the more you'll experience fatigue. These foods interact with your brain's biological system, increasing serotonin production and eventually leading to drowsiness. Personally, I only consume these types of carbs at night when I actually want to feel sleepy, and I do so in moderation because they're low in nutrients. If you're wondering, but Pedro, what should I eat in the morning if I can't have bread or cake? I recommend joining Neurovox Society. We have a complete guide on the best morning routine, including what to eat for better energy and focus. What you eat, especially at the start of your day, directly affects your energy levels. Many people unknowingly snack on cookies, crackers, and refined carbs throughout the day, which leads to constant fatigue. Another factor that drains your energy is consuming ultra-processed foods. When combined with refined carbs, they create the perfect combo for making you feel tired. Another enemy of your energy is artificial light after sunset. Light exposure suppresses the production of melatonin, a hormone essential for sleep. Artificial light, especially from screens like smartphones, computers, and TVs, blocks melatonin release, disrupting your ability to sleep well. The rule is simple. Avoid artificial light between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. Exposure to light during these hours not only disrupts your sleep, but also affects your dopamine system, reducing your energy and motivation the next day. A lack of physical activity is also detrimental to your energy levels. To keep your brain functioning optimally, regular exercise is crucial. Many people say they don't have the energy to exercise, but in reality, it's the lack of exercise that is causing this energy drop. Regular physical activity improves sleep and boosts your overall energy during the day. Lastly, alcohol and cannabis consumption can also seriously impact your sleep and energy levels. Drinking at night, even in small amounts, can interfere with deep sleep, leaving you feeling more tired the next day. If you want to learn more about optimizing your health and energy, I recommend becoming a member of the Neurovox Society, where you'll find a wealth of science-backed tools to transform your life.